This is the all-new Audi RS7 Sportback, the second generation of the car that's supposed to combine the style of a coupe, practicality of a hatchback, luxury of a limousine, and the performance of a supercar. And here are the CarWow top 10 things you need to know about it. There's no risk that your ridiculously rapid Audi RS7 Sportback is going to be mistaken for a limp-wristed standard model. It gets a honeycomb grille with Quattro-style air vents and an enormous vented front splitter that looks like it could swallow other cars whole. Bulging wheel arches, huge alloys and sporty side skirts give the RS7 a badass profile, while at the back you get the biggest exhaust pipes ever fitted to an Audi. Oh, and a spoiler that rises up at 75 miles an hour so the police can tell when he's speeding. Brilliant. But which would you rather have, the RS7 or the RS6? Click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen to cast your vote. Audi's gone to some effort to make the RS7's interior feel a lot more special than the basic cars. Open the door and you'll spot cool illuminated sills and heavily bolstered sport seats in Nappa leather. You can pay extra if you want to have them in even softer Valcona leather, complete with RS badges embossed into the material. Audi's even updated the infotainment graphics to show an RS7 on the display rather than a standard A7. Now that's what I call attention to detail. The RS7's designed for people who can have their cake and eat it. So it's as quick and stylish as a top-end sports car, yet it's also practical enough to fit into your life, like a big hatchback. That means it gets acres of room up front for tall adults, but they should feel equally at home in the back. And you can even swap the two individual body-hugging rear seats for a more practical three-seater bench. Even the boot is practical. At 535 litres, it's big enough for a set of suitcases, and the large tailgate gives you more room to load bulky luggage in than you get in a normal saloon or coupe. Any doubts that the RS7 means business will dissolve when you feel the full fury of the twin-turbocharged 4-litre petrol V8 hidden under the bonnet. It produces 600 horsepower and a staggering 800 Nm of torque, which is fed to all four wheels through an 8-speed automatic gearbox. 0 to 60 miles an hour is over in 3.6 seconds, while top speed is limited to 155 miles an hour. Although Audi being Audi will increase this to 174 miles an hour if you pay a bit more money. Pay a little bit more again and Audi will then let the car do 190 miles an hour. And if you want to make your RS7 sound as good as it can, then you'll want the optional RS Sports exhaust, which has black tips and, of course, costs even more cash. Good old Audi making a car not as good as it could be from the get-go, just to rinse out its customers for all they're worth. Fuel-sipping hybrids are the last thing you'd think of when you see the RS7, but that's exactly what it is. Well, sort of. You see, it's got a 48-volt power supply, and that means this car's officially a mild hybrid. It can recuperate energy when you lift your foot off the accelerator on the motorway, or just switch the engine off, saving fuel by coasting down the road. The RS7 can also engage its stop-start system quicker than a normal car, and deliver an electric power boost when making off from a standstill. The result is that this heavy 600 horsepower Super Coupe can return fuel economy of around 30 miles per gallon. Though not in my hands it won't. Sorry. One thing that you can guarantee about a fast Audi is that it'll come with Quattro 4-wheel drive, and naturally the RS7 gets the latest version. Most of the time it sends 60% of the power to the back wheels to make the car feel more responsive in the corners, although up to 70% of the power can go to the front if the car needs some extra grip. Also, the RS7 can brake its inside wheels to help it turn into corners quicker, while the optional sport differential will make it possible to actually do some small tail slides. The RS7 Sportback is likely to cost from around £100,000, and that's before some pricey options. Anyway, if you want to see how much you can save on an Audi, or any car for that matter, click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen to check out the best car deals on CarWow from our trusted dealers. If you want supercar performance but a pillowy soft ride that can smooth out the bumpiest roads, then there's some good news. Air suspension comes as standard on the RS7. Also, its air suspension is 50% stiffer than that on the normal car, in order to cope with the RS7's potential 190 mile an hour top speed. You can actually fit the RS7 with optional RS Sport suspension, plus dynamic ride control. This ditches the normal air suspension for steel springs and dampers, which are actually stiffer still. Also, this system can keep the Sportback flat in the corners by pushing pressurised oil into the corner that's leaning the most. This helps keep the big Audi stable and level on twisty roads. But if all that sounds like a recipe for discomfort and back problems, don't worry, there's also a comfort setting on this sport suspension, so it's still easy to live with every day. As standard, the RS7 gets progressive steering. This means you don't have to turn the steering wheel as much when you get to tighter bends. If you want even quicker response, then there's the optional dynamic all-wheel steering. At high speeds, this will turn the rear wheels in the same direction as the fronts to improve stability, while at lower speeds, the opposite happens and the rear wheels go in the opposite direction to the front, like on a forklift truck. That makes this huge RS7 more manoeuvrable in confined spaces like multi-storey car parks, so you're less likely to curb its expensive alloy wheels. Thank God for that.
Please subscribe to this channel for more videos, and if you click on the deals box to the right, you can see how much you can save on a new car at CarWow. Or click on the video windows below to watch another of my videos.